All right, so now we're going to start adding some variables and start programming the base of this program. So we're going to go to the backdrop. That's where we're going to do a lot of our programming on the back. And we're going to start making some variables. So we need a timer for this game. We need to make sure we have a countdown to show us how much time we have left of the game to collect as many points as we can. And we also need to see our score so that we know how many scores we've accumulated so far. So we're going to make a timer variable. We're going to make a score variable. And we're going to make another one as well. Don't worry about this one for now, but I'm going to explain what this is later. But just make it for now. Make it spawn random. All right? So these are the three variables we need. And we want the score and the timer to be shown because it's important to see what our how much time we have left and what is our score when we're playing the game. But we don't want this one to be shown. So tick this one off, but make sure these two are ticked on, okay? And you can just place it wherever you want. I just like the bottom right corner and the bottom left corner, just nice and clean. But you can place it wherever you want, all right? So now that we have that, we're gonna go to the backdrop and start programming some of these functions. We're gonna put the flag there. And we're going to make sure that every time we first set the score to 0, because we want to make sure you don't start with more numbers. If you ran the program once and you accumulate some scores, we want to make sure the next time you run it, it's back to 0 and you start a fair game. So we set the score to 0. And we also need to set the timer to some number that we can count down from, right? So we're going to just go for a minute for this game. But you can set whatever you want. If you want longer than that, that's totally fine too. I'm just going to set to a minute. So we're going to set the timer to 60 for 60 seconds. All right, and then we're just going to count down from that. And also, we're going to make sure that this spawn remains hidden forever. So we're just going to put a hide variable for spawn random. All right. Now, we need to make another block over here to make sure we count down the timer, and every single second we reduce it by 1. So we're just going to put another when flag is clicked, and we're going to say that, hey, for 60 times, because we have 60 seconds, for 60 times, wait 1 second, and then once you waited the 1 second, remove that timer by 1 so that it just shows the seconds going down. All right, so we're just going to say change timer by -1. All right, and if you click the flag, you can see this happening, right? You can see that it goes down 1 second at a time. All right, perfect. So we can stop there. And now we're going to add some other stuff. So what we want to accomplish is that we want for things to appear out of thin air and start dropping on our bear, right? But how often do we want this to happen? Now, if we do it every second, it would be a little too slow, right? And it would be too easy to win this game. So what we're going to do instead is we're going to make it every half a second, okay? So in order to do that, we're going to do something similar here, but something similar to the countdown that we made over here, but we're going to make it repeat 120 times and wait half a second, right? Because it just adds up to the same thing. Simple math. So instead of 60, we're going to put 120, double that, and we're going to half the wait time. So wait half a second. All right, now we're going to say every half a second. What we want to do is we want to first set this variable to a random generator so that we can decide if we're going to create an apple that falls down or if we create a watermelon that falls down. Now we want the apples to be a lot more frequent than the watermelons, and we want them to happen, let's say, 4 times more than the watermelons, right? So what that means is we need to generate a number randomly between 1 and 5, and only if you generate one of those numbers, we will produce a watermelon. If you generate any of the other numbers, we produce an apple. And this will lead to us randomly producing 4 times more apples than watermelons. All right, so hopefully that logic makes sense. So we're going to set this variable to a random generator. So pick random between 1 and 5. All right, and we're going to say, hey, if, and we're going to use the if else, if this spawn random, this variable that we created and we picked a random number for, if that is equal to one of those specific numbers, and this can be any number, really. So we're going to say if spawn random is equal to, let's say 3. Okay, if it's equal to exactly 3, right? So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. If it's equal to 3 and 3 only, we're going to make a clone of this watermelon, and we're going to create that, basically creating one more sprite of this, a clone of it, that we can drop down on the bear, right? So we have this sprite here mostly as a blueprint so that we can make more watermelons out of it, right? So if we just use this one sprite, it's going to be used once and then that's it, right? But if we keep making clones of it, it'll keep producing them time and time and time again, and we can just keep the game going forward. So we're going to say, and this is a command that is over here. It says create clone of watermelon, right? So one of those 5 cases, we make a watermelon. Any other cases, we make an apple. All right, and we're going to program these falling down later on, but for now, just make sure that you have this set up so that if one of those numbers comes up, we are basically deciding to make a watermelon, and if the other ones come up, we decide to make an apple. All right, so pretty straightforward. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna go over here to these to make sure that first of all, they are hidden when the game starts, right? So for both the apple and the watermelon, we want to make sure that they are hidden. So when the flag is clicked, just make sure it's hidden. And the same thing over here for the watermelon, just copy it over there. But when we create a clone of them, we want them to appear. So what we say after, in another separate block, we say, when I start as a clone, essentially when a clone of this is created. So we're going to go over here to when I start as a clone, and then we're going to show it. All right, so we're not going to show the original, but anytime we make a clone, we're going to show it. Just like that. And then we copy that for the watermelon as well. Same thing over here. Okay, the first one didn't get copied, so there we go. There we go. Now we have both of them. Perfect. Whoopsie. What's happening here? There we go. Just delete that. All right. So for both the watermelon and the apple, when the flag is clicked, they're going to be hidden, the original versions. But anytime we make a clone, we will show that clone. All right. So let's just try this. Let's see if this works. Now, this is not going to fall down just yet because we haven't programmed that yet, and we haven't programmed where it's going to appear. But we're just going to make sure that the clones are being shown. Right. So when I started, you see the clones are being shown in random spots. And that's exactly what we wanted, right? And it's going to be put. The reason why you don't see more of them is because they keep getting produced in the same place, right? So when they keep getting produced in the same place, it's hard to see it, or they could be produced somewhere else outside the screen. But the important thing is that we see that they are not shown beforehand, but once we make clones of them, they are shown, okay? Which is exactly what we want. Perfect. Now, in the next video, what we're going to do is we're going to make sure the clones appear in a place that we select. We want to appear somewhere up here and then start falling down, right? So that's what we're gonna program in the next videos. But for now, just make sure that you have this and it's good to go. You have the timer, you have the score, you have the bear that's able to move around, and you have these objects creating clones of themselves that appear when they are created as a clone, but they don't appear originally. All right, so once you have all of that, feel free to go to the next video and I will see you there.